now we are going to tackle the one from the youngster in the room. We are going to talk about, is there a difference between a booty call and a hoe? Interesting.
A booty call and a hoe. To me, a booty call is mainly a booty call. Basically, I think it's a relationship that two people have, whether you guys are dating, you know, just not really looking for a relationship. Not all the time you're looking for a relationship. Sometimes people you just want to date, get to know you, have a good time with. And it just so happened, hey, what you doing? Can I come over tonight? You know what's going on, you know, you're expecting it. And it might be a dinner or a movie and then you fucking. But a hoe is just, what you doing? You coming over to fucking tonight? Okay, that's what you're doing. Okay, we done. You leaving? Bye. No conversation. I don't know your last name. Don't care about your last name. None of that. No outside information. It's just name and when we fucking, and that's all I want to know. You about.
That's the hoe.
That's the hoe.
Okay.
A booty call is just an event. Like she said, a booty call is an event. It's an event with two adults who, you know, they know what's going on, but it's something so much more than that. You actually know this person. You know a little history about you guys. Actually have a conversation with this person. You might go out and date, and you know, and it's just.
Wait, I read. Okay, the definitions that I got from a booty call is more like what you just defined a hoe as. A friend with benefits is what you're defining as a booty call.
Okay, now we're gonna add it on. Okay, now we got friends with benefits,
right?
With booty calls and a hoe. Okay, now let's roll with that.
I think a hoe has an ulterior motive. That we not just fucking just to be fucking. A hoe, I think, needs to feel like, okay, it's something to this. We need to get some. It needs to be something in exchange. It don't have necessarily have to be money.
No, I mean,
hoes just like to fuck. I thought that's what hoes did.
I'm trying to get out the fact that y'all bitches calling me a hoe.
Well, we gotta be bitches and shit.
Because I just had this young lady over here tell me.
But friends with benefit is a friends with benefit, and a booty call is an event that friends with benefits have.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, you know, a booty call means you're a hoe. I'm just gonna call you because I want to fuck you. No, I'm gonna call you because I want to have a nice evening. We just gonna, you know, we might go out and this and that, but we know we're gonna fuck at the end of the night. Or it might be, like you said, friends with benefits. And you just call them. I just, you know, just want to come over. We're gonna do our thing and go. And then, you know, next time I see you, we might have, you know, a conversation. We might actually go somewhere and do things. A hoe is just strictly fucking. I don't care what you doing before you got here. What you doing when you leave here, because you leaving here because you ain't staying here with me. That's a hoe.
Don't get a sandwich.
Don't get a sandwich.
For me, I think it's about numbers. For me, I think a hoe is no. I think a hoe is somebody who does something with anybody. Anything with anybody and everybody. A booty call, I think, is an agreement between two people who have, like you said, have some sort of relationship. They know something about each other. Maybe they just met at the club. Maybe they've known each other for a while. They're not necessarily in a relationship, and they have an agreement. I think that's for me, it's a big difference between the two.
I think, okay, like somebody was telling me the other day, he was like, yeah, she was a hoe. She used to jump in the back of the cars and suck niggas off. She ain't even know. That's a hoe. That's a hoe. Okay. Like, I never did that.
If you at the club, if you at the club and you dancing and then you just lift your dress up and let somebody pop it in, that's a hoe. If you got drunk and you know you went to the car and sucked somebody out, forgot to pop it on it, and then y'all went y'all separate ways from the parking lot, that's kind of hoish activity. Okay?
That's a hoe too. Ain't no hoe.
Right. That's
I'm just saying, hoish activity to be married with your husband, but a hoe, right?
No. When you like if you are doing a booty call, there's some kind of relationship established, but you know how much is like kind of vague. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody you talk to on a regular basis. Yeah. Not somebody you see on a regular basis. This isn't necessarily somebody you would even call a friend. This is somebody for when you got that extra itch, either one of you know what time it is. Y'all don't have to have a lot of conversation. Y'all, when you get there, you can pretend like you're friends, but you guys basically know what time it is.
He ain't got to
sneak up on him, he'd be like,
right. Now, a friend with benefits to me is somebody who you do genuinely have a relationship. You guys don't have to always have sex when you're around each other. Sometimes you could go to the movies and that's just that. You guys may talk to each other about different relationships that you're in. You guys might say, oh, well, I'm dating this person or I'm dating that person, and you guys kind of have whatever. Just every now and then, you guys know that you have a little open door if you want to exercise that right to be intimate with each other, that then you can do that, but you don't want the pressure of defining it or making it, a relationship or trying to figure out who's the one. That's your friend who you got some extra benefits with.
That's my
your booty call. Booty call is somebody who's not gonna call you and ask you how your day was necessarily. They're not after they go out on the date with the girl who's making them wait 90 days. They come home at 2 in the morning and call you and text you YD. What you doing?
And D is DTF. What? Down to fuck.
Oh no! That's our house.
Yeah, that's
no one. That's Jersey Shore. DTF. Down to fuck.
Now I get that, I'll be like, remember to block.
But don't be worried what you doing. Down to fuck is all leads to the same thing.
I think at least
right, but that's the booty call. Usually people be like, it's past midnight, them booty call hours, because y'all ain't been on no date. Y'all ain't, ain't nobody texting you at 2 o'clock on what you doing because they think you out running a marathon. Are you still up and available to come out and perform some services? What they're trying to say. And then the hoe, you might not necessarily call her, or if your booty call ain't available, then you might roll through on the hoe. Dudes don't even necessarily might not even want the hoe to come over their house.
Wow.
They might roll through.
I'm outside, put the baby in the tub.
But no, the hoe never goes to the house anyway, because I just think that when a man deals with a hoe, he wants to have the option and the ability to get up and leave and not have to ask the hoe to out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So he don't even go to the hoe's house. I mean, he don't even have the hoe over. He just goes to the hoe house. So he can say, okay, I'm gone. I gotta go.
Right. You can park your car in the hoe's alley and get it in, really.
And put your blinkers on.
Because you know she don't go.
And you don't want at your house because you don't want to have to hide all your good shit, because you don't necessarily know this bitch, you don't know her last name. She's been Peaches for 15 years. You don't know Peaches' real name. Don't nobody in the neighborhood know Peaches' real name.
Right.
And you don't always necessarily want everybody to know that you're fucking the hoe.
So she can't come to your house.
So you don't want all your friends to say, you definitely don't want the other young ladies.
With some hoe.
You know I saw Peaches. Peaches was in front ringing your doorbell. Each one ring my doorbell. Right. Peaches was selling me a TV. That's what Peaches was doing.
Right.
Vision Rock Studios in 1906 and a half, South Halsted here in Chicago.
If you've ever dreamed of becoming an entrepreneur and don't know where to start, The Entrepreneur Within You by Julie Holloway is a must-read. Holloway and 17 co-authors share advice and inspiration that can save you from serious business blunders. So purchase your copy today on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. The Entrepreneur Within You. Empowering, equipping, inspiring.
Because then the girls be like, you slept with Patience? I heard he had crabs. He just had crabs.
The friends with benefits, it's really messed up for me, because I've had quite a few, if not almost all of my really close male friends. We started off as just booty calls, honestly, and I have them now. I can call a few of them right now and be like, look, I'm stuck in Lansing, and if they're not tied to something, like, well, here I come. I started out, I guess, as the whole. Okay.
Right.
And and I got to talking, and they was like, oh, bitch, not a break.
Right.
And then I can cook. I burn in the kitchen. Oh, bitch can't cook. So I think sometimes you can turn that hoe into a booty call, into a friend with benefit, not a housewife. And we were just talking about that on my group, where men have a problem with numbers.
Yeah.
And he asked me, he was like, well, Tracy, why is it that women don't want to be truthful about the numbers?
They don't know damn.
And I says, well, because men judge us about our numbers. And that men don't ever want to think that their girl's been with anyone more than 3 people. That they're first, the guy they broke up with before they got to him, and them. No, and them. That's the third one. They got to be the third one. And I said to him, I said, because men will judge us on our numbers. And you might not judge us. You might not say you a hoe. But in the back of your mind, you want to know what dick done been in this pussy that you are now consuming. So you understand what I'm saying? They kind of want to know. They kind of want to know. And I asked myself,
They want Carfax.
right, they want the whole facts. The whole facts. The whole facts. So the whole facts.
1973 down for
It was in accident. It was birthed in this year. They want facts. They want pussy.
For 3 years, fell off the map. You know what I'm saying? But I think that when men think that they don't want to ever think that this woman that they're dealing with had a whole lot of sex parts. I'm saying, but my thing is like, when you add to her numbers, you also add to your numbers.
This is double standard.
And he says, well, why have I only want a woman that's only had 23 people? 23, I don't want to go over 23. And I said, well, you have to come to the realization that, I don't know, I guess he just threw it out.
Michael Jordan.
And I said, well, you have to come to the realization that if she sucks your dick really good, she didn't just suck one dick.
She probably had several.
You understand what I'm saying?
She learned on several.
Learning process. You know, her throat wasn't bored that deep, my boo. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that the double standard keeps like when a man would call a hoe, she's not really a hoe. He can just put her in that hoe. Men only have 2 categories. It's a hoe and a potential. They only have 2 chambers for women. There's no in between for men. You're either a hoe or you're potential. You barely can merge on, your potential. You will never even put your potential in a hoe. She can do all kinds of nasty shit. Once she's a potential, she's a potential. That you might not wife her, but she still has those attributes. You would never allow her to move over into the hoe, and you never really allow the hoe to move over into the other. Right. And I think that the whole booty call thing, those are men's standards. Women don't ever say, girl, I heard that Bruce fucked 15 girls and I'm gonna see what that's all about. We don't do that. Yeah. But men will be like, man, I heard Keisha had 5 and I'm gonna see if I can get this.
In defense of the hoe. Okay. Because because there is a double standard about women and their sexuality and men and their sexuality. Men can do some outrageous stuff and people will say he's a Mac, he's a player, he's sowing his oats. But if a woman wants to take on that same sense of liberation, if she makes a decision and says, hey, I just kind of want to be free, I want to have sex with who I want to have sex with, as long as I'm protecting myself and nobody gets hurt, it's all good. People like, oh, she dating a different man every night, she's a hoe. And that's not always the case. I think, women, we should stop being so quick to judge other women as hoes, because sometimes we judge each other as hoes with impossible standards. Like, if she's not only fucking one man, and then she's a hoe. Like, if you had sex with 2 people this month, you're a hoe. We put all these different standards on each other, and men don't dare put standards on each other when it comes to sex and relationships. It's like, hey, the more the merrier. Yeah. If you can get 5 men in a day, then you doing big things, as long as your penis don't fall off. So
and you ain't fucking his potential.
Right. So I think, when it comes to, how you see a woman who is not being very respectful to herself, and it means that she feels degraded. She feels less than when she's dealing with these men, or she's searching for some sense of her identity or some sense of her fulfillment through the sexual acts. For some women, it's no different than, a vice, than somebody who drinks too much or has too many cigarettes or any other vice that people use when they're feeling depressed, when they feel like they need a little extra oomph. Some people smoke a blunt and some people be like, I need to get some dick. And I don't, and
some do both.
Yeah. Some do both.
Right. At the same damn time.
Right. themselves in harm's way with dangerous people that they don't know, with and you know, not protecting themselves and having no kind of, you know, safety filter for their own body and for their own physical, spiritual, and emotional being. Well, I would say that's hoish activity, you know. But then at the same time, I think you can have somebody who maybe is liberated. You call that person liberated, and this woman, she might have, you know, a lot going for herself or not, but she just feels like, for whatever reason, I don't want to be bothered by a relationship, or I don't want to be tied on. Maybe I don't have the emotional space right now, but I still have a physical need that needs to be met. So she has.
Can she be a friend with me? Can she be a friend?
She has candidates.
She gotta make friends.
She has some candidates.
But and I hear you, and I hear the double standard argument, but I think double standards aren't necessarily to be argued. Some double standards are just the truth. You know what I mean? The same way that we talk about roles and what men do and what women do, to me, this is one of those things. If a man sleeps around, that's what he does. If a woman sleeps around, to me, she is a hoe.
But why is she a hoe? Yeah, why is she a hoe?
Because I think that men's and women's sexual makeup is just different. And on a real base and archaic caveman level, it's just different. I think that men's sexuality peaks all day long, every day of the week, all of those kinds of things. They have physical urges all of the time. Women typically have higher physical urges during their ovulation time. And not that it doesn't happen any other time, but I just think that women, to me, the woman who is trying to compensate for something, like the vice that you talked about, I would consider that a hoe.
I agree with that. And we just kind of look the other way when men do it. It's kind of something we chuckle about. But if a woman does it, then it's not acceptable. And I would tend to say that women who sleep around, I probably would call them hoes too.
Right. I mean, you know what I mean?
Whether it's fair or not.
Right, whether it's fair or not. Right.
It's just in our head. I think it's just already in our head.
But what is okay? So what does that mean? So what does that mean?
That just means that's what my opinion of her is, and that means absolutely